This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos. Daf Ayin Amud Aleph, and we're holding in the very bottom of Samachtes Amud Beis, the second wide line. Says the Gemara Yudei Ker Shabbos, quoting the second case in the Mishnah, that if someone knows that his Shabbos and his many malachos is chayiv for each and every malacha that he does. Says the Gemara Minahani Mili, where do we know this? Where do we know? Case 1, chayiv 1 chatos. Case 2, chayiv many chatos. Says the Gemara Rav Nachman Amar Rav Ravuam Trei Kroi Ksivi 2 Psukim. Sham Rav Neisel says Shabbos number 1 Uksiv Veshav says Dishmayru. So the first pasuk was Esa Shabbos, 1 Shabbos. Second pasuk was Shabbos Sai many. HaKetzad V'Shamar Yisrael says Shabbos that Klal Yisrael should watch Shabbos. Shemiras Achas l'Shabbosais Harbe. One watching for many Shabbosais. Shabbosais Tishmayru, and my Shabbos you should watch Shmira Achas l'Chol Shabbos v'Shabbos. One Shmira for each and every Shabbos. Says, well, what do you mean? Masor Rav Nachman Mar is God. Imcha mistabra. V'Shamar Yisrael Shabbos Shmira Achas l'Chol Shabbos v'Shabbos. V'Shabbos Tishmayru Shmira Achas Shabbos Harbe. So says the Gemara, how do we know, again, from case A to case B, one chayiv for to each and every malacha? How do we do that? So continues the Gemara, so we don't really have a mekar. Hayodea Shu Shabbos, case number 3, and many malachas, many Shabbosais, one for each av malacha. Maishna Reisha, Maishna Seifa. So now we're getting more and more confused. This is case number 3 of the Mishnah. Case number 3, you're chayiv for each malacha. Says the Gemara, what's the difference if you're shayging about Shabbos and you know about the malachas, whereas you know about Shabbos and you're shayging about the malachas? Why one are you chayiv for each and every action, and one you're chayiv for each and every av malacha? Amar Rav Safra, kan miyediyah Shabbos hu peiresh. In the first case, he doesn't do anything. Why? Because he knows that there is this entity called Shabbos. Yes, malacha hu peiresh, and one is because you know there is something called malacha. Amli Rav Nachman klum parish mi Shabbos al mishum malacha. Is that the reason why klum parish mi malacha al mishum Shabbos? What are you talking about? Asks Rav Nachman that. Meaning, Rashi speaks out, in both cases, when they tell him what's going on, he stops. So what's the difference, the lack of knowledge, whether it's Shabbos or Malacha, at the end of the day, when he finds out he stops, and before he finds out he was doing Malacha? So explains Elam Rav Nachman and Nubshat. Carbon the Chayv Rachmana Amai. Why did Hashem Chayv a carbon Ashkaga? Hasam. Excuse me. One more time. Carbon the Chayv Rachmana Amai. Ashkaga. When the case is that you know about the blocks, you just don't know about Shabbos, there's one shkaga. I just don't know it's Shabbos. When I know it's Shabbos, I just don't know the malachais. There's two shkagais havon. There's many shkagais. Each and every malacha is a shkaga. That's why you chayv a carbon of each and every one. Says the Gemara, chayv kol malacha malacha. So the next case the Mishnah said about 8 lines down, ayin amid aleph, that you're chayv for each and every malacha. So says the Gemara, chiluk malachais minalan. Where do we know that there's different malachais, each one creating its own chiyuv carbon? Omar kra mechalel mois yamus. That one who desecrates Shabbos is put to death. Ha toira rivsa misois harbe al chalachas. State in toira mechalel mois yumas. From there we learn out that there's many deaths. Hi, been amazing. So it says Gemara, whoa, 1 second. When do you get misa? By mazid. We're talking about shaygig. We're talking about carbon. Says the Gemara, no, you're right. But it's extra. It may not Indian lamazid if we don't need the pasuk for mazid. Why? Because we have another pasuk that says, you must. So therefore, today, Indian is shaygig. Or my you must. But very nice that it's an extra pasuk. Very nice that instead of applying it to misa, we want to move it over and apply it to carbon. But how does it work in the words? Says the Gemara, you know what Misa means? That your death is in your money. Uma, you must be mamain by bringing the carbon. Says Gemara, says Gemara, wait, we have a different makar. Rav Nosson says, Titanya, Rabbi Nosson, Aimer, Lishar, Reish, V'chom, Shvei, Seichem, B'yoyim HaShabbos. Matam Alaymer. Pasuk already says that it's also do malacha on Shabbos. So what do we need this pasuk for? The Vishan Amar, Ketubas, the Yaakov, Moshe, it's called Aspen Israel, Eila Dvarim, and says, Meish Rabbeinu, Eila Dvarim, Meish Siva Hashem, Sheishes, Yabim for 6 days, Teyas HaMalacha. Dvarim sounds like 2. It's Dvarim is in the plural, which is 2. Ha Dvarim, the extra hey adds on 1, so we have 3. Eila Dvarim, the word Eila in the Gematria, Aleph 1, Lamed 30, Hey 5, 36. So we have Dvarim is 2, Hadvarim is 3, Eila is 36, 36 and 3 is 39. From here we learn out that what did Moshe Rabbeinu teach Klal Yisrael? Elu, Shleisha, V'teisha, Melach, Shenemer, L'Moshe, Misinai, Yachlasan, Kulam, Be'elim, Echad. I would have thought if you do all of them in one helam, in one act of forgetfulness, Inu Chayev Alachas, he's only Chayev 1 Chatos, Tamalaymer, V'charshu, V'katzer, Tishbais. Says the Torah, B'charish, V'katzer, Tishbais, plowing, reaping, you should rest. And I would still have thought Charisha like Sira Chayiv Shtayim for plowing and reaping Charisha and Sira Chayiv 2. Bakula and everything else in Chayiv Alachas. Tamlim Esvarish. So Havara Michlaloisa. Havara is already included in the general. So why did it single out Havara? Vilama Yatza, why did the Pasuk single out? And this is so fundamental because one might think that the Torah lists countless psukim about the Lamitas Malachas that it's not true. This is where we learned out because the Torah goes and singles out Havara. So what does that teach us? Lahakish Elel, we equate everything to Havara. The Leimer Lachan, it teaches you. Ma Havara Shua Malach v'Chayev Aleim b'fnei Atzman, it's own Chiyuv. Av kol Shua Malacha Chayev Aleim b'fnei Atzman. So says the Gemara, Rav Nosson has a clear makar. Eile, Dvarim, Hadvarim, Loisavaruish, Hekish, everything has a chiyuv. So why did Shmuel not learn out from Rav Nosson? Shmuel Savla Kirav Yis, you are using Rav Nosson. Damar Havara Lilav Yatsa. You know why the Torah singled out Havara? It's not extra. Says Rav Yosi is to teach us the lav. The Tanya, Havara lelav yatsa div Rav Yosi. Rav Nosson Aimer, no, it's an extra pasuk lachalek to split up all the malachas into their own category. So that's why Shmuel didn't hold the Rav Nosson. Says the Gemara Vayit v'teivulei lechalik malachas. Says the Gemara, but we should learn chalik malachas mechad and after the Rav Yosi. From where Rav Yosi learned it, Tanya, Rav Yosi Aimer v'asa me'achar mehina. Says the Torah, he'll do it from one of them. The pasuk teaches sometimes one who does many averos is chayav 1 chatos for all of them. And sometimes he's chayav a separate chatos for each and every avera. V'amar Rav Yosi Rav Chanina. My time, dear Rav Yosi, achas me achas. Says the Gemara, the pasuk could have said achas. It added on an extra mem, me achas. Heina, it could have said heina. Me heina, says Rav Yosi. Achas shehi heina. From here we learn out it's one, which is heina as them. Meaning that there's a case where you do one avera and it's tantamount and it's similar to doing many averos. Heina, there's a case of many averos, she achas. So an interesting drasha, Rav Yisrael Chanina of achas me achas. And from there we learn out, says Rav Yisrael Chanina, what is the case of one that's many achas? Shemoin me achas teaches us Shemoin, the name Shemoin. Heina avois meheina toldois. So let's explain what this is, and then we will call it a day. Explains the Gemara that what's the achas without a mem that shows that a person is not chayiv is shemoin. That when it comes to ksiva, he's only chayiv if his original machshava is carried out entirely, which over here would be to write the entire name of Shimon. Me'achas teaches that you're chayiv even if you only did part, not if you did the whole thing. Shem mi Shimon. Example is if you wrote the shin mem, the shame from the first two letters of Shimon, because the first two letters are a name unto itself, shame. Therefore, you're going to be chayiv. So even though you did part, you did me'achas, you're still chayiv. And okay, we'll stop over here. We're going to continue elaborating this very interesting and unique drasha of Yisrael Chanina, Pesiyata Dishmaya.